All right, so I'm going to do a workflow on this image right here. It's a prom girl, and this is straight off the camera. The camera I used was the Sony a7R II with this lens here. This is not my picture. I snagged this off Google. But that's the lens I use. It's one of my favorite lenses, the 135 Batis 2.8. Amazing. A little pricey. I also have a 85 as well as a few other Sony lenses. Here it is. Again, I snagged this from somewhere on Google. But so I'm using the A7R II, which is the original A7R II. I think they have A7R3, 4, and 5. I think they have up to 5 now. I'm really happy with this camera. I love it so much. A couple of years after using it, I actually bought a brand new second one, which one's back up, I guess. But it's a pretty good camera. I handheld these shots. Usually I recommend a tripod when shooting portraits, families, individuals. But it was a little bit hard to do the tripod-y thing because of the fact that we were in this hill. I'm trying to find, I have a shot here somewhere of the area. I don't know why it's not showing up. Well, it's got to be over here. Nope. Okay, I know where it is. Give me 1 second. I'm going to go dig it up. I thought I had it open for you guys, but I don't. So I showed up at this location, and it's right close to our downtown core. There's a beautiful creek running through our whole city from one end to the next. And there's some nice trails. That's where we told this family to meet us. Getting there. Come on, June. There we go. Got it. All right, here it is. Okay, so over to the right is a parking lot. You can see the rail guards, and there's a creek here. Over to my left, there's like a 4-lane road. So it's a kind of a busy road, but there's some beautiful trails in behind here. I'm always there photographing weddings, families, children, and we asked this couple to meet us here. And as soon as I got there, I looked down here and I thought, ooh, it's kind of nice down here. I always show up early so I can scope the area out. Obviously, well, this is late in the day, so the sun is setting way over there, which is kind of cool. I like that. And this is one of the first pictures I had done of the client. Now, I don't have a picture here, but I am using a Godox AD600. You can see it off to the right here. See it? Oh, I do have a picture of that. Let me show you. This is inside the trail. This is not how I lit this one. Where'd it go? Okay. Here I'm using a scrim on top and block off the light with a reflector. I didn't do any of that. I'm going to show you these in a separate tutorial. I just wanted to show you the Godox 600. It's a manual flash, wireless. It's fired from the camera. I can control the output and all that right from the camera. There's my wife Tina. She's holding the reflector, and also we're doing grad shots for this girl and her boyfriend as well. So I'll get to those later. So I want to focus on the prom pictures, and I'm going to show you my basic workflow. So let's analyze the image. There's the levels. A little bit underexposed, or is it? If you look over here, you'll see the shadows are getting lost, but maybe not, because there are some dark areas. And you might think that the highlights are pushed right to the limits, and I think they are. When I'm photographing these sessions, and I don't necessarily recommend you use this strategy, but when I'm photographing them, oh God, it's just, you know, people don't use this strategy. What I do is I eyeball it. So I don't use a light meter. I'm basically strictly eyeballing it, and I'm winging it. I do a picture, I test it, and I look back. I look at the info on my screen, on my camera. So here, let's analyze the brightest part. Here, right here. See the RGB right here? We're going to look at that. We're going to measure that using 3x3 average. Okay. Now the highest you can go is 255. And I shoot everything JPEG, so don't hang up on me, please. That offends some people. They don't like that. Everything's got to be shot in RAW. I don't shoot RAW, 100% JPEG. I don't want to get into any arguments and or debates as to which is better. I know it really works for me, and that's all I got to say about that. So the color balance seems to be a little bit off, but it's skin tone. I mean, if we were measuring gray, which I don't think we have anything in here. If you had a gray card in there, which you could do, but I didn't. I'm really, my white balance on my camera is set to the Kelvin scale. I think it's at 6200. It's set to daylight. I just shoot everything like that. Again, that really bothers some people. So anyways, I'm looking here not so much for white balance. I'm looking for exposure. So if this was pushing to the 255 area, that would tell me it's overexposed. And it's actually in the right area. Okay? You know, you get kind of good at measuring visually the images when you're shooting on the fly the way I do. When you're exposing it, it's kind of an old school technique. I shoot and I kind of make an adjustment. If I wanted to brighten up the background, I would have decreased the shutter speed to let more of that. That's called the ambient light. So handheld, I'm on a bit of a slope. You can see the flowers. This is what I wanted in the picture. So let's look at the image size. It is a 42 megabyte camera. It's quite big. So there's a lot of data here. Okay, I never have an issue with that. These cameras are absolutely amazing, and the new ones have 60 or 62 megabytes or something like that. So I'm going to bring this down. Let's bring it down to 4,000. Okay, just so we speed things along. I mean, I don't have to. The computer can handle it. So the first thing I do whenever I'm workflowing is I go to a camera raw filter, and that's something anybody can do if you're shooting raw or JPEG. It doesn't matter. I click auto right here. Bingo, right there. And look at that, I pulled in all kinds of detail. Okay, that's kind of nice actually. So, but I often like to bring the whites down just a smidge and the highlights. You know, let's play with that. What do we got? Ooh, too much. So texture's pretty cool. Sometimes I boost that up a little bit. Clarity's pretty cool. See that? Whoa, too much. Don't overdo it with the clarity. It's got that topaz look. You know, topaz adjust. You don't want to kill your image. It's like adding too much garlic to your stew. Overkill. So, you know, this is pretty much it. Now, if I had a series, I would save this and apply it to any future images. But for now, that is how I start my images in my workflow. Okay, so from here to here, here to here. Next thing I'm going to do, don't always do this, but go to selective color, and I'm going to decrease the cyan in the red channel. Before I do that, let me zoom in. This is old school. Figured this one out almost 20 years ago. And the reason we do this is I want to get red inside her skin tone. We have a lot of blood in our bodies, hopefully, unless you're a zombie. So we want a bit of red. You can also go just straight up red. Some people do that. Just a hint, you know. Well, let's give it just a tiny bit. Some people like to, and this is probably one of the best techniques, is to shoot raw and create a gray card and create a perfect white balance. Fuzzy Dunkel does that. I mean, I've got a course on him in at photosuccess.com. I just love the way he does that, even though I don't shoot that way. Okay, so we got our core, just our core image here, a little bit of color. Next thing, I'm going to select the lasso tool. I'm going to just select around that light, right click, fill, bingo, delete, deselect rather. Okay, now I got a shortcut action, and what it does is it creates a layer that goes to overlay mode, and then I select the brush, opacity. Well, let's bring the opacity somewhere 18. Let's go to 18. Okay, brush size. This is to lighten the eyes. See that? So if you switch from white to black, it'll do the opposite. So paint white using the, it creates a new layer in the blending mode. I believe it's a mask. It's a masking technique. I don't remember. But the idea is to lighten the eyes. You don't want to overkill that. And I always do this. You can see the sky is picking up in her eye, and the highlight from the specular light from the light. All right. So she has. I'm going to flatten that. Okay. So the basic before retouching work is done. A bit of color adjustment, a bit of exposure, and then worked on the eyes. I do want to get rid of these. She's got a few doodads there all over, so I'm going to punch those out using the, what do you call that again? Spot healing. I'm going to use some airbrushing techniques in a minute. And this is how I pretty much work on all my workflow for portraiture. So let's go to the clone stamp and let's decrease that down. So anywhere in the 20s is okay with me with opacity. So I'm going to select here, boom, boom, boom. I'm going to take those lines out from under her eyes. Last time I saw this girl was at her mom and dad's wedding. She was like 7 years old. Take that out. She's got a little dot right there. I'm going to keep that in there. So she's all graduated up now. 18 years old, 17 years old. Nice girl. We had a blast. So another reason why I didn't use a tripod, because I was shooting a lot and I wanted to shoot fast. This is something I do almost always. Is I go and liquefy. Whoops. Let's try that. Very carefully push her arm in there. Just a little bit. Too much? Too much? Close enough. You get the idea. All right. So we can go from boom to boom. That's not perfect, but I'm just for, you know, just for show. Right. We got most of her skin. Let's go to the brush tool. And I'm going to go anywhere between 15 and 20 on the opacity in the brush tool. So I'm going to hit Alt key. I don't know what it is on the Mac, but it's Alt here. And I'm going to select. And then I'm going to increase the brush. So I'm going to select brush. So I'm selecting wherever you see that circle. I'm selecting that. You can see it on the bottom left in the color swatch area. Maggie showed me this. She does this to all her images. It just likes add a layer of makeup, and it cleans the skin down. So I'm gonna just do this really fast because I don't want to spend all my time doing that. You get the idea. I'm trying to show you the idea. Okay, let's see if there's a difference. Yeah, see it? From there. There. Now Maggie, when she does this, she uses a mask. So she uses the white and black masking brush. And if she goes overboard, she can decrease or increase as needed. So we're doing pretty good. I want to do something here. I just thought of something. I'm going to select A, move tool. Try that. Actually, when I worked on the actual image, I think I did this for the actual shoot. Fill. Come on. Bingo. Boom. So I filled it in and I pushed her so she's composed a little more to the right. Yeah, and I kind of lost some of the flowers by doing that. These here, so I could add more and cheat more in there if I wanted to. All right, so looks pretty good so far. You know, we're actually almost done when you think about it. One thing I like to do is there's a couple things. I'll show you both right now. Topaz Labs, go to adjust, and I've a little bit of that, but I would decrease it. Okay, this is the detail. Sometimes I play with different ones. Ooh, it's kind of nice. Gritty, nah. Let's go to toned. Vintage, what does that look like? Nah. Let's go to classic. Detail light. I might work with that one. Brilliance warm. Warms it up a little bit. Let's go. Photo Pop's pretty good. That's a popular one. Let's go with that one. So I'm going to add a little Photo Pop. Boom. Boom. Now I'm going to add an action here. Wrong one. Boo boo. There it is. Okay, this is a brightness contrast mask under layer. Add a new layer mask, and the idea is to create a burning effect, or a burning or dodging. I have both. So the color brush, I can erase. Let's increase this quite a bit. Decrease the opacity. Okay, so watch. Boom, boom. Flatten. All right, so here we go. We've got the image darkened. Went from this to this. Okay, one thing I like to do is add a little bit of black into everything. So I go to selective color, go to blacks, boom, 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 boom. Gotta watch this, you don't want to overdo it. Just see how you can create a lot more. It's overkill. So what I like to do is just a couple of notches. Okay. I didn't adjust the contrast because some of that's done when I do the raw filter, and also when I do the topaz adjust. So I have some actions I like to use, and for this one I would probably look at the Royal Collection by Bella Kotek. The Royal Collection by Bella Kotek. I bought those years ago. I absolutely love them. Let's click on the In the Woods one and see what we got. Kind of nice, a little bit too dark for my taste. Let's try adjusting it. You know, I can go into this action and start adjusting all the different areas, but you know what? I'm not crazy about it, so I'm going to just lose this. Let's make it go away. Let's go to black gold. I really like black gold. Let's see what we got. Boom, boom. Still looks a bit dark, don't it? Let's see if from that, well, it's not a big difference, is it? One more. Once Upon a Time. All these cool names. So I often find if the image has a nice look with one of those actions, I tend to use it, but I don't want to use it just for the sake of using it. Know what I mean? So that's not bad. Let's put that in there, and let's try something for fun. I haven't even tried this yet, but I want to try this texture screen that I have. Hard light, decrease. Sometimes a texture screen will add to it. Give it a little bit of that je ne sais quoi. That's not bad. I don't know, what do you think? Am I full of it? Usually, I'll play with a few of them. This one here, I kind of like these. I have a whole collection of texture screens. many texture screens I've collected over the years. Okay, I'm gonna deselect the first layer I just put on there. Overlay, soft light. Let's decrease the opacity. Give it a sense. So I'm going to erase a bit of that. Okay, let's go through up arrow, down arrow, see what we got here. See if any of these different blend modes work. Darker color, lighten, screen. If I deselect screen, well, it's kind of giving it a vintagey look. Color dodge. Let's see. That just sort of darkens it. So you see where I'm going? There's different ideas with different texture screens. So I'm just going to go back to normal. And I'm going to erase at 100% it right off her face. And then decrease that a little more. So you can see the texture screen. It's kind of in there. I don't want it to be overbearing. And let's see what happens when we bring this one back. I'm just going to leave it like that. Okay? So whenever I do this kind of thing, I never end up, it's the same, it's different every time. So I have an action here for my soft focus, and that's the last thing I'm going to show you. And the action I got is called airbrush frequency. So it's like frequency separation, cheater mode. I use it all the time for all my softening. Now when I run the action, it creates these layers, and I bring the opacity down to 8, way down there, and then I come in on the skin and I erase just where I need it, and that's predominantly on the skin. Way less for guys, but for girls I give it a little more, and I find it's a beautiful action. If I need to go really strong, I'll just crank it right up there, and I'll do, see how it just really created that, which is not bad. Let's just keep it like that. So that's my workflow with textures. Okay, I may or may not use textures in the end. I may go just straight up, you know, straight up the way you saw it, like that. Oh, actually that's with the action, the Bellicotech action. But I always like to add a little bit of grain, noise. Add noise. All right. So that's a little bit strong. Shift Control F, and I can, let's bring it up closer, and I can go decrease, increase. I do this all the time. Nice little grain. You can also put a craquelure. I have a craquelure, like cracked oil paint. So that's the image workflow I wanted to show you guys. We'll compare the two right now. Oh, it's a different size. Yeah. Well, you get the idea, right? Before and after. Created sort of artistic, almost like a painting, straight from the camera. Have any questions, let me know. Put them in the comments below. Let me know. Take care.